Wealth inequality has become systemic globally as we look all over the world and find the same exact pattern. The rich become richer and the poor become poorer. Perhaps it's a cliche, but never before have we seen this happening at such an alarming rate. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today, we're going to look at the rising inequality that we are seeing. I'm going to show you a few charts. I'll bring it to you as quick as possible. Let's begin by taking a look at this. At the global level, inequality has risen sharply of late. The top 1% richest have had twice the income growth of the poorest 50%. And on the left-hand side, you're going to see real income growth per adult in terms of percent. On the bottom, you're seeing the income group in terms of percentile. Now, what we're looking at here particularly is on the right-hand side of this chart. You can see the richer you get, the richer you will become. It's becoming more and more and more pervasive every year that goes on. But I want to define this further, but I just want to get into a little bit more detail here. Look at the 1%, and you can see that on the chart as it is 99% and beyond. Okay, so you're looking at that. These individuals here are rich by the standards that we have classified them, and these people are the one driving the luxury vehicles. They live in the very expensive homes in the nice neighborhoods and so on. But you can see that as you move further and further right on this chart, that becomes more exaggerated. In fact, it becomes parabolic at the highest levels. Now, who are these people? I'd like to really spend a few minutes to define who that is, because how can you ever achieve a target if you don't know where it is? You need to be able to assess that in the beginning. So I'd like to just talk about this quickly. Now, looking at the individual, maybe he lives on the end of your street in the corner home. It's a beautiful home. They've got the luxury car in the driveway. It's a very expensive vehicle. Maybe they've got two of them. They've got the luxury clothes on. These people are generally referred to as rich. But are they really rich? Now, many people you know in your life every day, I'm sure that you know some people who have been purchasing all of these things on credit. They've maxed out their mortgage, they've used home equity line of credit, and it seems like they're very rich. But are they? Are they the 1%? And I would even suggest to you that individuals making oftentimes 100,000, 200,000 a year are not really wealthy at all. But they are classified as wealthy according to the standards that we have decided, all right, now whoever we is. And this to me should really be addressed further. I don't like to look at it in this way because it's not really true. We need to be focusing on the individuals at the very, very, very top, beyond the 99% that we are. And you look at, hey, we're the 99, they're the 1, and so they're bad, we're good. It cannot be addressed that way. We need to focus on the very, very few hands that are controlling all the money, all the corporations, the conglomerates, and so on. So that's very important. A lot of people, they say, you know what, that guy's rich. Why doesn't he give me money? And you really have to understand that person probably, they got a raise, or they got a better job, or they own a business. They've been doing so for a long time. They have incredible expenses, and just like everybody else, they increase their expenditures along with their salaries increasing. That's the way it is. Nobody's ever doing this appropriately. That's the way I see it anyway. We get a raise, we spend more money. That's what the general population does. Now let's move on to this next chart here. All right, rising income inequality across many countries, but at very different speeds. And in brackets, it shows us the top 10% national income shares. Now we're looking at this: China, India, US, Canada, and Russia, Europe. Now we can see that depending on where you look, it's going to be a very, very different issue. All right, now looking at they've for the most part, increased here throughout the decades. But what we can also see is that a lot of individuals, I would say, haven't experienced this wealth increase if they're part of the bottom 80%. They really haven't been able to attain any gains here, unlike the top 20%. And then, that's really where it starts slowly, but ultimately it goes into the 1% and beyond. These people definitely have been able to attain that because they have assets usually. These assets continue to increase and so on. So that is benefiting them as expected. Okay, so we're looking at those different countries, and then this here, income inequality in China has jumped dramatically despite strong economic growth and government measures to tackle inequality. Of course, those measures don't help the individual. They only ensure that the top 1% and beyond are going to be able to continue having all the wealth. That's what all the measures do. You don't want to have a strong middle class if you want to maintain the hegemony, if you want to ensure that you are in control and you have a subservient slave class. Of course not. Look at this here as we look at China being income inequality changes. That is the blue line that you see across the bottom there for China going up to 15. And you could see that emerging and developing Europe behind that, but it's half of that level of China. And then you go into the other levels there, other countries and areas. It's important to look at this because it shows us different countries. We can't just say for, globally, inequality is very bad, or just in the US, inequality is very bad. It depends on where you look. It depends on the people's professions. It depends on where they grew up. It depends on so many factors, all right? So there's all different studies that look into all of this, but I have to say, if we're not focusing on the conglomerates, the corporations, the mega businesses that control everything in media and everything, all that combined, then we're not focusing on the right people. We're focusing on the guy down the street. He drives a nice car and you think that you deserve that. And that's what a lot of people have done. And I think it's a big mistake to do so. We need to have our focus on the right people, the right corporations, in fact, because these are faceless, nameless entities oftentimes. So I'm going to end it there. If you found the video informative, please give me a thumbs up. When you give me a thumbs up, you help to support the channel. I do appreciate that very much. And last but not least, don't forget to subscribe. A lot of people just continue to watch the videos but not hit that subscribe button. It is important. It supports me. I appreciate it when you do. You're joining over 140,000 like-minded individuals from places all over the world. Take care.